Welcome to the AI Queens podcast, the show where women entrepreneurs learn to ditch the overwhelm, embrace AI, and build businesses fit for royalty. I'm Erika Stanley, your host and tech expert, here to deliver tools, tips, and actionable strategies to help you scale smarter. Let's get to it. Hey there, welcome back to AI Queens, the podcast where we are rewriting the rules of tech on our terms. I'm your host, Erika Stanley, and today I'm coming to you with a solo episode to share something that I have been totally obsessed with lately, and I cannot wait to share it with you. We are going to talk about vibe coding. Now, you might have heard about this, but basically, what if I told you that you could build a custom app for your business in about an hour without writing a single line of code? You won't have to hire a developer, you don't have to have a massive budget, and you obviously don't have to be super tech savvy to do this. Vibe coding is a no-code way to build apps to solve specific problems in your business or in your life. And I am super excited to share all of this with you. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get ready to build something amazing. Okay, let's start with the basics. What the heck is vibe coding? Think of it like this. Instead of learning a foreign language, which is essentially what traditional coding is, you are just going to have a normal conversation with AI about what you want to build. You literally just describe the idea in plain English, and the AI writes all the code for you. So instead of spending months learning JavaScript or Python, you might say something like, I want an app that helps me track my daily water intake. When I click a button, it adds 1 glass to my count, and then I can see my progress for the day. And boom, the AI will build that app for you. This is different than using an existing to-do list or an existing tracking app like Todoist or like the reminders in your iPhone, because you're creating something that is completely custom for your specific needs. It's going to work exactly how you want it to work, not how someone else thinks it should work. And here's why this is so cool for us as entrepreneurs. If you're anything like me, you've got these little business problems that existing apps don't quite solve. Maybe you need a simple way to track client feedback, or you want like a custom form that does something super specific, or maybe you've got some type of custom calculator that you want to add to your website. Instead of trying to find something that works or settling for whatever's available that like isn't quite the right fit, you can just build it yourself. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, that this sounds way too technical for me. But here's the thing. If you can be on a text thread with your friends, you can do this because the entire process is basically just like having a conversation with AI. So let me walk you through the really high level basic steps of how it actually works. Step 1, you're going to start with a clear problem that you want to solve. This part is key. Don't just think, I want to build an app. Think, I want to solve a specific problem in my business or my life. Step 2, you describe your solution in plain English to the AI. Be conversational, be specific, but don't worry too much about the technical terms. It will figure that out for you. Step 3, the AI is going to build your app and show you a preview. This usually takes anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes for the initial build. Step 4, you test it out and give it feedback. Hey, can you make this button bigger? Or can you add a way to delete items? That kind of thing. Step 5, you refine it, go back and forth until it works perfectly. Then you can share it with others or just use it yourself however you want. The beautiful thing is that you're not just clicking buttons in a template or using someone else's app and ideas. You are actually creating something from scratch that's tailored for your exact needs. So I want to give you some examples of simple apps that you could build just to get your creative juices flowing. Maybe you're trying to drink more water, like I mentioned earlier. So you build a daily water intake tracker where you just click a button each time you finish a glass of water, and then it shows you your progress for the day. Maybe you're like me and you're really bad at tracking business expenses. So you create a super simple expense tracker where you can log what you spent, pick a category for that thing, and then see your monthly totals. You could even add a little button to just like save it and send it straight to your accountant. What about a habit tracker? We're just expanding on the water thing, those annoying little things that we're always trying to build into our routine rather than just sitting at our desk all day. So you could build an app where you check off your daily habits, like posted on social media for my business, took a 10-minute walk, actually left my desk and went outside today. Those habits we're trying to build. Or here's another one that hits close to home. You could create a mood journal, especially if you're dealing with stress, hormonal changes, or you just want to track patterns in how you are feeling. So you could create an app to rate your daily mood, add a quick note about what happened, and maybe start seeing some patterns over time. Okay, and a super simple one that is another personal favorite of mine, a daily gratitude journal. Just 3 things you're grateful for each day. Simple, but powerful. The key is to start with the problems you actually have. Don't try to build the next Facebook. Build something that would make your Tuesday a little bit easier. Let me share a personal story that is going to save you some frustration. I started vibe coding about a year ago, and I built some pretty cool things at first, but I was only able to get them to about 90% of the way, and I just couldn't get them across the finish line. The first thing I made, I tried to make an app for my book club, like a lending library where we could take pictures of the book on our shelves. The internal AI would read the title and the author and basically make a big long list of all of the books that everybody in our book club owns so that we could borrow them from each other. I also tried to make a property management app for my husband. Both of these were super complex. And they were great for me to use, and I tested them, and I got them kind of working, but I was really never able to get the functionality perfect so that they are long-term usable. However, I recently went to the She Leads AI Create conference up in Salt Lake City. If you're not familiar with this organization, you should definitely look them up. They are doing amazing things to teach more women about AI and to become voices of leadership in the AI world. So it's right up my alley. And if you're a listener to this podcast, it's probably right up your alley too. The very first day of the conference, as everybody was flying in, they had a pre-conference build-a-thon for a small group of us. And we learned some really amazing techniques, including some of the ones I'm going to teach you today, to strip back our ideas for apps and really oversimplify them. So the key lesson that I learned during that build-a-thon was starting with what's called an MVP, a minimum viable product, meaning like what is the simplest, most stripped down version of this app that you can think of? Let me give it to you this way. Let's say you're thinking of building a house, but you've never built a house before. You obviously would not start by building a castle, right? You'd start maybe by building a little shed for the backyard. The shed is going to have the basic components of a house, 4 walls, a roof to keep you dry, but it's not going to have all of the plumbing, the electrical, the fancy finishes you might put into a castle. So when you start building your apps, try to think of the shed version rather than the castle. Then, once you get the shed perfected, you can start adding more features later. Now, this one mindset shift completely changed how I have been vibe coding since I got back from that conference, and why I'm so much more confident sharing these techniques with you now. All right, now I want to walk you through building 2 actual apps step by step so you can hear exactly how this works and how simple it can be. Example number 1, I want us to start with a simple to-do list app. So let's say, like me, you're frustrated with existing to-do list apps because they're either way too simple, just little check, 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 or way too complicated where you're trying to move things around and you just want something clean and straightforward. Now, rather than jumping straight into a vibe coding platform, I want you to start in Claude or ChatGPT. You can just hop in there and say, I want to create an app using vibe coding. Let's create a to-do list app where I can add new tasks, check them off when they're done, see my completed tasks. I want it to be clean and simple and have like a little progress bar at the top showing my progress for the day. The little hack that I've learned is that by starting in ChatGPT or Claude, you are going to get an output of a more robust prompt to then put into the vibe coding app. So you get more direction and specificity before you even start burning through credits. Let me backpedal here. A lot of the vibe coding platforms that you may have heard of, they have free versions, and those free versions have a very limited number of credits that you can use while you are building. And so by starting with ChatGPT or Claude, you are getting closer and closer to a really great description of exactly what you want your app to do and to look like, how it's going to function, before you even start burning through credits in the vibe coding apps. Oh gosh, I don't want to get too technical here, but I also don't want to shortchange you. You're basically going to have a specifications document for your app, and you are going to put that refined prompt into your vibe coding platform. Once you do that and hit enter, it's going to just start coding. You'll see it's going to start creating files. It's going to create HTML for structure, CSS for the styling, JavaScript for the functionality. You don't need to understand any of that. You just kind of watch it happen in the sidebar. Now, here's something important. You are going to be tempted to hit the little preview button or to possibly give it another prompt like, oh, you thought about something after the fact, after you already hit enter. Don't do that. Let it spit out its first output before you make any changes. It's going to take a few minutes, like I said, 5 to 15 minutes, depending on how complex it is. But once it's done, you'll see it stop working and you'll get to see a preview of your app. That's when it gets really fun. You can test it out, add a few tasks, check them off, see how it feels. Like me, you can maybe add a little confetti if you want when you check off a task so that you get a little dopamine hit. But as you're going through and you're testing, maybe you realize that you want to be able to delete tasks, not just check them off. So you can then tell the vibe coding app that that's something that you would like to add. That's a feature you'd like to add. Just be cautioned that all of these apps use credits, and every change you make costs credits. So getting the prompt correct, getting it as close as you can with that very first prompt coming out of ChatGPT or Claude is going to keep you from having to go back and forth with the vibe coding app and getting kicked out and running out of credits super soon. All right, moving on to example 2, a symptom tracker for new medication. Now, here's a more personal example. Let's say you are starting a new medication and your doctor wants you to track how you're feeling to see if it's working. I have been on a journey with my migraines for a few years now, and I've been on lots of different medications, and this app would have been so amazing for me to track. So let's say you want an app that's going to track all of these things. You might say, I need an app to track my daily symptoms while starting this new medication. I want to rate my mood from 1 to 10, track my energy level, note any side effects, and then add the date automatically. I also want to be able to see my progress over time in a simple chart. You can put that into ChatGPT or Claude, use it to create a prompt, and the AI would then build you an app with a form where you can input those daily ratings, a text area for notes about side effects, and then it would automatically timestamp each entry. Then, because it's going to create a graph to show your mood and energy trends over a week or over a month, it's something that you can actually take and show to your doctor and say, hey, I've been tracking all of this and here are the results. This is, gosh, it's so much better and more personal and even easier than trying to remember to write things down in a notebook, or like I've done, using some generic health app that's trying to track like 47 different things you don't even care about. The beauty of this is that it's exactly what you need, nothing more, nothing less, because it's coming out of your brain, solving a specific problem that you have. Okay, and once you have these apps, here's another little cool thing that I've learned. and actually I can speak to iPhones. I don't have an Android, but I'm sure this does it on Android as well. You can actually add your web app to your phone as if it were a real iPhone app. Now, technically, you're not creating iPhone apps. You're just creating a web app. But if you save this to your home screen, it can live right there with a little icon and open up just like an app, which is totally crazy, right? So you can build something on your computer with AI and then have it right there on your phone whenever you need it. Now, before you dive into any of these platforms, I know this is super exciting and you're going to want to get started right away. But I do want to share some tips that will save you some time and some credits. Like I said before, you can actually start in ChatGPT or Claude and have them help you create the perfect prompt before you even touch a vibe coding platform. It's like having a little planning session for your app before you build it. There is this other amazing AI expert named Molly Maloney, and she has actually created a custom GPT specifically for this. And I hate sending you to someone else's tool rather than just creating my own, but this thing is literally so good that I'd be doing you a disservice not to mention it. You can find it at molly.live/AIE-pod. And this custom GPT, it's so cool, you guys. It will actually walk you through all of the questions that you need to answer to create a solid app building prompt. Things like, what problem are you solving? Who's going to use this? Do people need to be able to log in and out? What features do you absolutely need versus what are just the nice to haves, right? If you don't want to download the custom GPT, and I mean, you don't absolutely have to, you can just have a conversation with Claude or ChatGPT. You can start by having that conversation and just letting them know that you're building an app and that you need the specifications for that app, like the instructions to give the AI app builder. This is brilliant because it's going to help you get all your ducks in a row before you start burning through those credits on the actual building platforms. You're going to have a clear, detailed prompt ready to go, rather than figuring it out and going back and forth as you build. Now, let's talk about where you can actually try this. I'm going to give you a couple of options, starting with the most beginner friendly. There is a developer named Sabrina Romanov. I absolutely love her. I met her at the She Leads AI conference, and she is so cool and so open and free with all of the information that she has about AI. If you don't follow her on TikTok or YouTube, definitely give her a follow. You can just Google her and find her. She's got a ton of really valuable information on AI that she shares out for free with the public. She has created a completely free vibe coding platform at freevibecode.ai. It's specifically designed for beginners, and she is funding it herself out of her own pocket to make this accessible for anyone. You can just sign up with your Google account or put in a username and password and start building. The interface is super clean. It walks you through the process, and there's no credit limit to worry about when you're learning. The downside of this one is that because she's funding it out of her own pocket, the credit bucket is actually shared by everyone that's using it. So once you're out of credits for the month, like as a world, then we're done vibe coding for the month. Next up, I'm going to send you to Claude or Claude Artifacts. Now, these are great for simple little apps that only you are going to use, or a small, simple app that you and a few people are going to use. Claude is how I actually created my to-do list app. It's just for me, and it actually does the fun little confetti thing every time I check off a task. I love Claude for the super simple apps, and it's easy to get started there because if you're already a Claude subscriber, you're not going to run out of credits. You can just have it make you an app based on the conversation that you're having. Now, if you do want something more robust, there are paid platforms like Bolt, Lovable, Replit, Base44 is another one. They all have free plans. They've got free options to get you started. However, I will caution you that you will burn through credits really quickly. So that's just something to keep in mind. And that's also why we start in Claude or ChatGPT to get our prompt really dialed in before we even jump over to any of those platforms. And here's a pro tip. Don't get overwhelmed by all the options. Just just pick one and start. You can always move your app later if you need to. The cool thing about moving apps, speaking of moving apps, if you're friends with any developers, you may have heard them mention GitHub. It sounds super technical and scary, but I want you to just think of it as like Google Drive for code. If you build something on one platform and you want to move it to another, GitHub is just a way to transfer those files. Most of these platforms have an export to GitHub button that'll do all the work for you. You just are going to need to set up an account for all of these platforms, including GitHub, if you decide to use them. Okay, now let me share some pro tips that I've learned from talking to people who are vibe coding regularly. First, be patient with your first build. It's going to take 5 to 15 minutes for the AI to plan everything out and build that initial preview of your app. Don't try to interrupt it or add more requests while it's working. Let it finish. Be patient, then make changes. Second, start simple. I cannot stress this enough. Don't try to build something with massive user accounts, payment processing, email notifications. That's too much. Build a simple tool that solves one problem really well. Remember, build the shed first, then work your way up to the castle. Third, when you want to make changes, do them one at a time. Don't say, make the buttons bigger, change the colors, add a new feature, do this, do that. Say, make the buttons bigger, test it, make sure it's right, then ask for the next change. Yes, you are going to burn through more credits that way, but you are also not confusing the AI, and you are making tiny tweaks and only changing one variable at a time. Remember that from math class and from science, you're only changing one variable at a time. Fourth, if something isn't working right, you can take a screenshot of it and describe what you want fixed. The AI is really good at understanding visual feedback, which is super cool. So if you take a screenshot like this button isn't aligned with the others, or the text is too small to read on mobile, it will understand what you need. So use that screenshot function. And then finally, don't be afraid to start over. Sometimes you're going to get halfway through building something and realize that you want to approach it completely differently. That's totally normal. Just start a new project with a cleaner version and the lessons that you have already learned from your first version. So now moving on from the tips, I do want to mention 2 mistakes that I have made that I don't want you to make. Mistake number 1, trying to build something too complex right away. Remember, you are starting with the shed. I want you to pick maybe 3 to 5 features, like the water tracker, right? You're going to have a button, you're going to track your water, you're going to press the button and check it off. It's going to tally how many you have for the day and then how many you have for the week. That's it. Shed, not castle. And then second, another big mistake I see that I have made myself is giving up when something doesn't work perfectly. I want you to remember, and I've worked with developers for years, even professional developers deal with bugs and issues that are really hard to solve. The difference is you are not a developer. You can tell the AI what's wrong in plain English, and you're not going to have to debug that yourself. Sometimes you might hit a wall and the AI might not be able to figure out what's wrong and your app might break. So don't get discouraged. Don't let that stop you from continuing to build and continuing to try. Failure is part of the process. Now, why does this matter for your business? I want to paint a picture for you here. Instead of spending $5,000 to hire a developer to build a custom client intake form and onboarding system, you could instead build it yourself. Instead of paying monthly fees for 3 different apps that do almost what you need them to do, but not quite, you could, with practice, create one app that does exactly what you need. You may end up having to pay for one of these tools, but if in the end you're paying for one of these vibe coding tools instead of 3 different software solutions, you're saving money. But beyond the money savings, there's a mindset thing. It's something that shifts, right? There's something really powerful about building your own tools. It's like that feeling you get when you have been going back and forth with ChatGPT or Claude. You figure out something super complex, you're automating a workflow, and you realize like, oh, that's it. Like I get it. And just something clicks. When you are able to build an app and get it to work, it's just such a cool feeling. Nobody is asking you to become a developer overnight. That's unrealistic. I'm not even a real developer. But this is about becoming someone who can solve their own problems creatively and use AI, use the tools that we have, and learning to use the technology and use those tools to solve your own problems. That's a superpower. Plus, think about the confidence boost. When someone asks you, where did you get that? And you can say, oh, I made it myself. That's just a really cool freaking feeling. All right, queens, here's your challenge for this week. I want you to pick one teeny annoying problem in your business that has been bugging you, something that would take you 5 minutes to solve if the perfect tool existed. Maybe it's tracking something or organizing something or collecting information from a bunch of different people. Then start by having a conversation with Claude or ChatGPT. Maybe you don't even know how to solve this problem. You just know that it's an annoying little thing that's been bothering you. Hop into your LLM and start having a conversation. Let them know that you want to build an app to solve this problem and that you're going to need their help building the specifications for that app, the instructions to give the AI app builder. Once you have that solid foundation, head over to one of the platforms I mentioned. I would start either with Claude or with Sabrina's free tool and try building your solution. Give yourself permission to spend 30 minutes to an hour just playing around. Remember, I cannot say this enough. You are building the shed version first. Don't worry about making it perfect. Don't worry about someone else seeing it or using it. Just focus on solving your one small problem. And then, this is important, come share your win with me or send me a screenshot or a message on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Even if it's just like, hey, I built this thing and it actually works. I want to celebrate that with you. Because here's what I know about you. You're already creative. You're already solving problems in your business every day. And you're already braver than you think. This is just one more tool in your toolkit. You don't need to be technical to start. You just need to start. Now, before we wrap up today, let me remind you that if you want more hands-on Now, before we wrap up today, let me remind you that if you want more hands-on help with stuff like this, I do monthly workshops and one-on-ones. The AI Queens Society on Substack is a great place where you can meet other queens who are figuring this stuff out. I've been absolutely loving the She Leads AI community now that I have found that. You can find all of the links that I mentioned today in the show notes, including that free app building tool from Sabrina Romanov and some examples to get you started. And hey, if you build something cool, please tag me on social media. I want to see what you create. Until next time, keep rewriting those rules, queens. The future is ours to build. Thanks for listening to the AI Queens podcast. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow queen who needs to hear this. Want more tools and tips? Join the AI Queens Society over at aiqueens.com and start ruling your business with confidence today. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep reigning with AI.